Hey everybody, today is January 5th. That means we're picking right up on Galatians chapter 4, verses 1 through 20. Paul picks right up where we left off, and he's continuing this idea of being a child, this idea of having a pedagogos, this tutor, this helper that comes along. And so he does this, and he's talking about a son. He's using kind of an illustration about a son being prepared to take over an inheritance. And so he uses this idea of a child, which is simply just the age below an adult. So in the Jewish customs, it would have been boys at 12 years old and under. So he's using this idea, and he says, what if there's a child who's getting ready, and there's these guardians or these managers or these pedagogos, these tutors that are there to help him. His parents have already passed, but they've left him a huge inheritance, but he is the heir to all of that. But he quite can't manage that yet. So the parents would have set kind of like what we call today a trust up that says they can have the inheritance at a certain age. Well, Paul's using an example and saying, well, salvation is much the same. Every person is kind of right there on the brink of salvation, but it's really up to them until they come of age. Now, this isn't talking about a real physical age, like an age of accountability, or when somebody's 12, they're saved. It's really talking about an age of faith. It can happen at any time. It can happen at 5 years old. It can happen at 99 years old, or anywhere in between. But when a person becomes the age of faith, they realize what God has done for them, and now they get their inheritance. And that's what Paul is talking about in this idea. And when they have that kind of age of faith, when they accept Christ into their life, they are now in this idea that they are in full sonship. It's really cool that they instantly are adopted and they get to move in. And we see this word adoption, and we're going to actually look more at this word on Sunday. But this idea of basically being a son that has been taken into the family. He wasn't born in the family, but he's put in the family, and he has every right. And that's what Paul is talking about. When somebody comes into the faith, they are now a part of the family. And he goes on in verse 12, you probably noticed a little change there. Up until verse 12, all the way through Galatians, Paul's been writing almost like a college professor, just a perfect person who is debating and really no personal kind of infant statements involved. In verse 12, he gets really, really personal. He almost goes back to the memories of seeing them in Galatian, and he appeals to them. And he uses the word, I entreat you, I beg you, I'm pleading you to please remember the faith. Remember what I taught you. Not what these Judaizers and these guys are teaching you, but it's all about faith. And Paul goes through and he talks about he remembers them. He remembers them when he came. When he came, he talks about a bodily ailment. Probably, we don't know, but it was probably blindness due to some malaria. And that's why later on he says, and you would have even gouged out your eyes. You would have gave me your own eyes when my eyes were failing so that the gospel could go forward. He's reminding them that says, you guys believe so much in the gospel. You gave everything to make it go forward. But now, why are you going backwards? Why are you adding things to the gospel? It's only in the faith of Jesus Christ. And so that's why at the very end, we see a little warning to them. He gives them very much, hey, you need to make sure that you know what the gospel is. You need to know where you are at. And he tells at the very last verse, 19 and 20 of chapter 4, he calls them little children again, small children, and he's telling them that they have been formed, they've been metamorphosed, they're in a new place. And Paul is so perplexed over this because they knew who they were saved, they understood the gospel, but why are they going back? It's just like us. So many times in our life, we add things to what the true gospel is, that we have to do this and this and this. And sometimes we make the gospel about us, but it's never about us. It is always about Jesus Christ. And so hang in there. I'm so glad you guys are reading with this. We will see you tomorrow on day 6. God bless.